On today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to rebuild a Seadoo jet pump. So I have my gray Ghost out because I'm looking to upgrade the original jet pump and impeller. When these 951s first came out, the jet pump size was larger, but they had the same hub size as the 140 millimeter pumps that you would see on a 717 or a 787. By putting on a later model pump, I'm going to be able to improve the thrust at the low to mid range part of the acceleration curve. As I mentioned earlier, I also want to replace the original new jet impeller, which is pitched at 921. This means this prop performs well at top speed, but has poor low speed acceleration. Now it's time to remove the jet pump. We got to take care of our steering bolt, our VTS screw, our bolt for our reverse gate, and then we have 4 nuts that we have to remove that hold the pump in place. Time to remove the impeller from the pump housing, there are 5 basic tools that you need. You'll need a 1/2-inch socket wrench, you'll need a 1/7 socket, you'll need the appropriate impeller spline tool, you'll need a breaker bar for providing extra force, and then you'll need a torch, and that is to break up the Loctite bond on the threads. Also, what is very common with these old jet pumps is you will have some metal galling between the impeller shaft and the impeller threads. So heating that up is going to allow those metals to expand and then contract, making it easier to remove the impeller. Anytime you have an impeller that is difficult to get off, you just have to keep trying. You have to keep heating it and then keep trying to get it loose. Remember, use that breaker bar, it's going to help you get leverage. This impeller was very difficult. It was moving my workbench trying to get this off. But persistence did prevail. Now the reason why they become difficult to get off is Seadoo assembled these with red Loctite 271. Besides red Loctite being very strong, it also does not provide protection against corrosion and rust. It was only till later that Seadoo required the impeller to be assembled with anti-seize. So the next thing that we're going to do is remove the original wear ring. So these OEM wear rings had 2 parts to it. They had an outer white ring and then an inner black ring. And that inner black ring would make the impeller clearance nice and tight. You can see on our wear ring here, we don't have any of the original black inner ring left. That means that this pump probably did not have good thrust and top speed. When removing the OEM wear ring, there's 2 options. The first option is you can take a chisel and a hammer and start working at the wear ring, trying to chisel it out. The other option is using a Dremel or a cutting saw, a Sawzall. I'm going to use a combination of my Dremel and the chisel to remove the wear ring. don't forget to cover this impeller shaft hole. We don't want any debris getting down if these bearings are reusable. Now before we remove the O-ring, you have to check if your pump housing has these screws. Alright, these are to help keep the O-ring in place. So before we actually remove the ring, we have to unscrew these. Now it's time to install our new jet pump bearings. So we have our jet pump bearing kit out. We have our new O-rings. We have our thrust washer, our thrust bearing. We have our caged shaft bearings, our seal, and our new impeller. I'm going to show you these two tools right here. These are bearing pushers. This one is for this side of the jet pump, the Venturi side. This is for the impeller side. But basically these tools are special because they have these flanges that are measured out. When you go to push the bearing in, the flanges are going to hang out and allow the bearing to stop at the correct depth. So we do have digital calipers to double check our depths, but you know, we should be good to go now.
Sound right, boy.
So when putting this back on the shoe of the ski, you're going to align this rubber boot with the drive shaft. It takes a little finagling, but once you get that on, you are going to start your 4 nuts, and just make sure you follow the correct torque sequence. Now if your pump is still a little bit tight, do not tighten these all the way. Alright, tighten them a little bit. Start your ski up, make sure that wear ring gets dug in a little bit. Let that impeller wear at it a little bit, and then once you have that on and running, shut it off and re-torque down these 4 nuts. But the process is pretty easy. The rest you simply have your steering cable, your VTS, and your reverse cable to bolt down. So hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, God bless.